This video is sponsored by Card Trader, a global marketplace where you can buy and sell TCG cards like the Pokemon trading card game. Please use my code POPNIGHT24 at checkout where you can get 5% off your first purchase. A link will be in the description below. Thank you again to Card Trader for sponsoring this video. Hey guys, in today's video, I'll be showcasing Cynthia's Garchomp EX from the Destined Rivals expansion set. Cynthia's Garchomp EX is a stage 2 Pokemon with 330 HP. It has 0 retreat cost, no resistance, and it is weak to grass. It has 2 awesome attacks. The first one is Corkscrew Dive. For a single fighting energy, it deals 100 damage, and you may draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. The effect on this attack is optional, but with the access to keep drawing into more cards, consistency should not be a problem at all for this build. That is unless you have a really bad opening hand. And its second attack is Draconic Buster. For 2 fighting energies, it deals 260 damage, but you do have to discard all energies from this Pokemon. All of its attacks are really strong, however, what makes Garchomp EX even stronger is because of its high HP. And that's because it has access to Cynthia's Power Weight. When attached to Cynthia's Pokemon, this will give an additional 70 HP to that Pokemon. So with this attached, Cynthia's Garchomp EX can have as much as 400 HP, making it super hard to knock out, and it can even allow you to absorb a lot of damage. And the Cynthia's combo actually allows you to utilize all the damage you receive because we also have Cynthia's Spiritomb. It has the attack Raging Curse. For a single colorless energy, this attack does 10 damage for each damage counters on all of your bench Cynthia's Pokemon. However, just keep in mind that this damage is not affected by weakness, which means you will not be hitting for double the damage against any Pokemon that is weak to dark type attacks. But by accumulating enough damage, you may just be able to one-hit knock out anything in the game, making this a very strong single price attacker. You can also increase your attacks even further thanks to Cynthia's Rose Raid. It has the ability Cheer Onto Glory. Attacks used by your Cynthia's Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, and this ability stacks, so depending on your setup, this can increase Cynthia's Pokemon's attacks anywhere from 30 to 120 more damage. When setting up though, you will want to evolve into Cynthia's Gabite as soon as possible, and this will take care of the rest of your setup. That's because it has the ability Champion's Call. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Cynthia's Pokemon and put it into your hand. This is going to help you to set up and evolve into your other Cynthia's Pokemon. For our stadium, we have 2 copies of Team Rocket's Watchtower. This will turn off all abilities of all colorless Pokemon in play. This is such a strong stadium that can turn off a lot of the more essential support Pokemon in the format right now, as you'll see on the screen. As for a spec card, we'll be using Unfair Stamp. If one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may use this card. Both players shuffles their hand back into their deck, you draw 5 cards while your opponent only draws 2. This will not only help you draw into more cards, but it doubles down as a disruption against your opponent's hand. This Cynthia's Garchomp EX is very strong, especially with the high HP buff you receive. You can just about absorb any attack in the game. And you can just deal more damage back to your opponent's Pokemon with Cynthia's Spiritomb. But just watch out because your opponent tends to target your heavily damaged Pokemon to knock it out. And if you lose those damage, Spiritomb will also lose its firepower. But besides that, with a mixture of both a powerful single price attacker and a really chunky EX Pokemon in this deck, you can easily have the option of controlling the price trade, which may just win you the game. But what do you guys think about Cynthia's Garchomp EX? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below. And now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing Cynthia's Garchomp EX. Before we get into the video, I have a small request. If you're liking the content I create, please leave a like to this video and please support this channel by subscribing if you haven't already. This is a small click for you, but for me, it means a lot. Thank you so much for all of your support. Alright, on to our first match. Both players had to mulligan once, and now we'll be starting this one with Cynthia's Gible in the active spot. We also have Roselia and Spiritomb to go on our bench, and my opponent had to mulligan again, and we're going against Charizard EX. I believe this is a winnable matchup because we can actually absorb a lot of their attacks. Got another Gible. We can use Buddy Buddy Poffin, set up another Roselia and another Gible. And with the Pokegear, we got an Arven. Alright, I can actually use this next turn to get Rare Candy. I'm just gonna pass here. We do have Cynthia's Gabite in our hand already, so once we evolve that, we can use the Champion's Call ability to get Garchomp EX, and with the Rare Candy, we can fully evolve, but we still need an energy to start attacking though. For now though, my opponent has Fezandipiti EX in their active, and they're slowly setting up their board. They have 2 Charmanders, a Pidgey, and a Duskull, so they also have Dusknoir. They're gonna use Iono. We lost our Gabite though. But we got Cynthia's Roast Raid, which I'm okay with. And we also have Iono to draw into more cards. We got a Power Weight. Let's evolve into Roast Raid first. We can get an energy with Earthen Vessel, because we're gonna shuffle our hand back to the deck anyways. Attach an energy, and then add more HP. Use Iono. And we got more Power Weight. Oh, we got TM Evolution, but we already have a tool card in our active, so we can't really use it. I'm just gonna attack here. Rock Hurl deals 100 damage to Fezandipiti. It is weak against fighting, so hopefully we can utilize that. Get an easy 2 prizes. So let's see how well my opponent sets up here. I mean, despite the increased HP, if they evolve into Charizard EX, they're hitting for 180. So they can easily knock out our active Gible. They will evolve into Stage 1 Pidgeotto though. They're going to attach a TM Evolution. And they're just going to evolve. Okay. They're going to use Fezandipiti to evolve into Pidgeot EX and Charmeleon. That's going to end their turn. We can take a knockout against this Fezandipiti EX. So let's use Arven. I could just get an Ultra Ball. Evolve into Gabite. Or actually, you know what? I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to get Unfair Stamp. Get TM Evolution. Retreat this. And yeah, I'm going to sacrifice Roselia. Attach an energy. TM Evolution. And we're just going to use Evolution Attack to evolve 2 of our Gabites or Gibbles into Cynthia's Gabite. And we're just going to end our turn. We're going to lose 1 prize here, but again, we can absorb a lot of attacks. So I'm okay with it. And we have a 1 prize attacker, which is Spiritomb. So the prize trade in this matchup is going to be in our favor for the most part. So they finally evolve into Charizard EX, activating the Infernal Rain ability, allowing them to search their deck for fire energies, energize their Charizard EX. They retreat their Fezandipiti, and they can easily take a knockout against any of our Pokemon on the board. But they're going to use Arven. They have Rare Candy, and they also have Defiance Band. They're just going to attack with Burning Darkness, knocking out our Roselia. That's going to get my opponent their first prize. So now we can start attacking with Garchomp EX, because we can just easily search it out with Champion Skull. But for now, I'm going to use their Artisan, get another Spiritomb out here, use Earthen Vessel, get more energies. And we're just going to keep using Champion Skull, get another Gabite. This time we're going to get our Cynthia's Garchomp EX, fully evolve our active, and attach an energy. I can use Unfair Stamp. Put my opponent down to just 2 cards. We got another Garchomp EX. Or actually, you know what? I may have just wasted the Unfair Stamp, but we have an Iono. We can draw into more cards. And then, ooh, we got Counter Catcher. Let's go ahead and just finish off this Fezandipiti EX. How about that? Corkscrew Dive. And we're knocking out their Fezandipiti EX to get us our first 2 prizes. Alright, we got Boss's Orders. Nice. So with that, we are ahead in the price trade now. We can absorb an attack from our opponent's Charizard EX. And Charizard's attack increases the more prizes their opponent has taken. Especially with the Dusknoir lineup, they can force the prize exchange, forcing their opponent to take more prizes to increase Charizard EX's attack. There goes another Charizard EX. But even with at full strength, they should not be able to knock out our Garchomp EX at full HP. So at 1 prize remaining, they're dealing 330. So right now though, they're only dealing 240, which is not bad. We can utilize that to attack for a lot with Spirit Tomb. I'm gonna start to charge my other Garchomp though. And what's nice about Garchomp EX is it has 0 retreat cost, so we can just switch between Garchomp and just keep attacking. But you know what? I'm gonna use Boss's Orders. Target this Dusclops. And then I can prep another Garchomp EX here. And we're just gonna knock out this Dusclops. Get another prize. The reason for that is if they fully evolve it into Dusknoir, they can just Curse Blast our Garchomp, although they did counter capture it, so we're gonna lose it. That's the thing about Garchomp EX. Your opponent can just work around it by knocking out your heavily damaged Garchomp, and that keeps Cynthia's Spirit Tomb at bay. Because if you don't have any damage to your Cynthia's Pokemon, Spirit Tomb deals no damage, which is a little bit of a downside. But I mean, it puts it in check, right? Because it's gonna be too broken if it can deal a lot of damage every single turn. So they're gonna put Shaman in play. That's really not gonna affect us too much because we don't hit for bench damage. But my opponent's gonna take a knockout here with Burning Darkness 270. They knock out our Garchomp EX. I mean, at least they're expending their... ooh, I forgot about Team Rocket's Watchtower. We can actually prevent them from using their Pidgeot EX. Okay, I'm game with that. Let's go ahead and use their Artisan. You know what? I'll just whiff it for now. Replace their stadium with Team Rocket's Watchtower, removing the abilities of all colorless Pokemon from or in play. And I'm just gonna use Iono. Put them down to just 3 cards in their hand, and I could just attack here. Corkscrew Dive, and that allows us to draw cards until we have 6 cards in our hand. And the thing about the Corkscrew Dive, PTCGL is not fixed yet. It should be optional, but right now it just makes you draw automatically. But I'm okay with that. They're gonna use Iono though. They're down to 3 cards in their hand still. And again, what's nice about Garchomp EX is we can just freely retreat it between our Garchomps. We can absorb their attacks, and slowly but surely that's increasing Spirit Tomb's attacks as well. At 270 damage though, we can deal a knockout blow against this Charizard EX, and we have Boss's Orders from this Pokegear. Look at that. But we're 1 damage counter shy of knocking out their Pidgeot EX, so I'm just gonna take a knockout against their Charizard EX, getting us 2 more prizes. And okay, yeah, Team Rocket's Watchtower is situational, but it is very strong when it does apply to your matchup. They are able to have access to Boss's Orders though. They will knock out our Garchomp EX. But we have Boss's Orders. You know what? I'm okay with that. That's fine. Let's go ahead and just boss their Charmander. Knock it out to get our last prize to win us the game. Alright, that was a close one, but we made it through. Good game. Moving on now to our second match. I had to mulligan once, and again, I'll be starting with Cynthia's Gible in the active. We also have Spirit Tomb on our bench. Okay, my opponent's starting with Fezandipity again. Okay. Let's start with Buddy Buddy Poffin. Get another Gible and Roselia. Might as well put this guy into play, and I'm just gonna pass. So I like going first with this build just because you have a lot of Pokemon to evolve into. So your main goal is to evolve into your Garchomp EX as soon as possible, hopefully by turn 2. And just absorb damage, and then you can just use that damage to attack with Spirit Tomb. This deck is actually really easy to pilot. Very good for beginners. So for now, my opponent has Rescue Board on Fezandipity EX. They have Badoo. And they have Team Rocket's Nidoran. Okay, this is going to be a very interesting matchup. And there it is. Itchy Pollen will deal 20 damage to our Gibble. It is weak to grass. Now we can't use any item cards. So we can evolve into Rose Raid. And with Iono, we missed our Gabites. But we do have Team Rocket's Watchtower. So if my opponent uses any colorless Pokemon that has abilities, that will turn it off. And speaking of, they have Pidgeot EX in this build. Okay, they have Jock. They will evolve into Team Rocket's Nidoran Male. And they're gonna keep item locking us. Ooh, we got Cynthia's Power Weight. Okay, at least our Gibble should survive a few more turns. We gotta find our Gabites. Okay, we got one. Okay, cool. Let's evolve our active. We can use Champion's Call to get another Gabite. Evolve this. And we can use another Champion's Call. I can get another Roselia, but I'll get another Gibble. And we can actually attack, knock out this Badoo. So Gabite is dealing 70 damage, knocking out their Badoo, getting us our first prize. And we got another basic energy. So if my opponent fully evolves into Team Rocket's Nidoking EX. Ooh, they're gonna unfair stamp us. Okay. Alright, we got Night Stretcher and Arvin. So we're still good actually. We can still get Garchomp EX with Champion's Call. Keep attacking. And they're gonna Iono. That's gonna give us more cards, alright? Hey, there's our Garchomp EX. Okay, they have Team Rocket's Energy. And they have Team Rocket's Nidoking EX, alright. 100 damage, and it deals poison. 100 poison because of Perilous Jungle Stadium. Wow, 200 damage. But it does require a lot of energies, that's the thing. So let's go ahead and evolve. We got Garchomp EX in play. We can use Ultra Ball to get another Gabite. Thankfully we were able to set up another Gibble last turn. Champion's Call for another Roselia. And then we're just gonna Corkscrew Dive. 260. Thankfully, Nidoking EX is weak to fighting, so we are hitting for weakness. It is gonna be a lot easier for us to knock it out. And we have Cynthia's Power Weight to increase our HP. If we can absorb a lot of damage, we can utilize that to deal more damage with Spiritomb. But with this Perilous Jungle in play, if they keep dealing 100 or 200 damage, even with the Power Weight, we're gonna die. Because at 400 HP, it's exactly the damage that they need to knock out our Garchomp EX within 2 attacks. So let's go ahead and use our Power Weight. I have to retreat here because I'm gonna die if I don't. I can attack with Spiritomb. Again, the 1 to 2 price trade is in our favor. Might as well just use Arvin to get Power Weight and Counter Catcher just in case my opponent gets ahead in the price trade. And we're just gonna Raging Curse, dealing 230 damage to knock out their Team Rocket's Nidoking EX. I actually want to try out this deck, but I feel like Team Rocket's Nidoking EX is very straightforward. There is that poison aspect to its attack, but I mean, there are other better, that I want to say, Pokemon that can deal more damage and less energy to use. But the poison aspect to it does help, especially if you can prevent your opponent from using Fezandipity or something like that. So now my opponent fully evolves into their Pidgeot EX, allowing them to use the Quick Search ability. And they're just going to attack our Spiritomb. They're going to get 1 prize for that though. And now we have a fresh new Garchomp EX in the active. Let's use our Buddy Poffin. There's not much there. I'm just gonna play as much cards as I can. That way I can draw into a few more cards here with Corkscrew Dive. Dealing 260 damage to their Nidoking EX. So this should be an easy knockout or an easy win as long as my opponent doesn't have access to boss orders, but right now they do. So, oh, they also have Monkey Dory. Okay, that's gonna be very dangerous. Where are they gonna transfer it to? Okay, they're gonna transfer it to Spirit Tomb. Yeah, 400 damage. Or 400 total damage to our Garchomp EX, knocking it out. Alright, not too bad, not too bad. This is anybody's game, I suppose. But we are sort of ahead in the sequencing aspect to this match. I can use Counter Catcher to actually finish off their Pheasantipede EX. They don't have any other attackers, so they'll be forced to use Nidoking. And with the heavy damage on it already, we can easily knock it out. And then we can use Unfair Stamp to put them down to just 2 cards next turn. So we're just going to take a knockout against Pheasantipede EX, get another 2 prizes. And the only way my opponent can win here is if they can take out my Garchomp EX. But again, because of its high HP, it's gonna be impossible to do that. Unless my opponent has a trick up their sleeve somewhere. Well, let's find out. We need one more prize, so it's not gonna be hard for us to take it. We're gonna transfer damage from their Nidoking. And the fact that we only need 1 prize makes it a lot harder for my opponent to get out of this situation. I feel like we have this game in the bag already. Yep, they're just gonna attack, and you know what, guys? We're just gonna finish off this guy with our Corkscrew Dive, knocking out their Team Rocket's Nidoking EX to get our last prize. Alright, very good game. On to our third match. Again, I'm going to start with Gible in the active spot. And my opponent's going to start with Badoo. Thankfully, they can't item lock us just yet. We can use Buddy Poffin. I'm going to set up another Gible and Roselia. And I'll attach an energy. I don't need to use Earthen Vessel because we do have the energies that we need already. So I'm just going to end my turn here. Most likely, my opponent's just going to item lock us during this turn. But I'm not too worried as long as we can set up Cynthia's Gabite. We can start using Champion's Call to get more Cynthia's Pokemon to set up on our board. And we have Iono to draw into more cards next turn. For now though, my opponent uses Arven and they're going to get Secret Box A-Spec card. So this is a very powerful card. By discarding 3 cards from your hand, you can use it and you can search your deck for 4 cards. A Stadium, a Tool card, a Supporter card, and an item card. Alright, I think we're going against Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX because they have Spike Myth Gym. That allows them to search their deck for any Marnie's Pokemon, and they're gonna get Marnie's Impidimp. And with Buddy Poffin, they're gonna set up 2 Snorunt, typical of Grimmsnarl EX build. There's the Frostlass lineup and also Monkey Dory. But what's this? Instead of attacking with Badoo, they're going to use TM Evolution and they're just going to evolve 2 of their bench Pokemon. Alright, there's the 2 Frostlass with the Freezing Shroud ability. Every Pokemon checkup, all Pokemon with abilities will receive 1 damage counter. Except for Frostlass, of course. Well, now that we can use our item card, I might as well just use Arven, get Ultra Ball, and TM Evolution. And now we can get our Gabite. Or actually, I could have gotten Rare Candy. We have Garchomp. We could have started attacking and getting our prizes. But then again, if my opponent evolves into Grimmsnarl EX, they can get that initial damage against our Garchomp. But either way, we got our Gabite. We can use Champion's Call, get another Gabite to use another Champion's Call. And then we can probably get another basic Pokemon setup here. Or actually, I'll probably just get Cynthia's Roast Raid. That will increase our attack. Although not necessary, but we can get a knockout against their Bidoof with Dragon Slice, 70 damage. And that's gonna get us our first prize. We got Counter Catcher. Alright. I just hope my opponent doesn't evolve into Grimmsnarl EX. They just need a rare candy. But our next turn, we can evolve into Garchomp EX. We can start attacking, draw into more cards, and then all we have to do is absorb damage, and then just throw it back with Cynthia's Spiritomb. But my opponent manages to evolve into Grimmsnarl EX with a rare candy. That activates the Punk Up ability. Just like Charizard, they can search their deck for dark type energies and attach them to their Marnie's Pokemon. So now, Grimmsnarl is fully charged. It's self-energizing, and it can attack for 180 damage to the active, and also deal 30 damage to one of our benched Pokemon. Not as powerful as Charizard, but what makes Grimmsnarl EX good is the multiple knockouts that it can, the combo can deal because of Frostlass and possibly Munkidori. So they're gonna take a knockout against our Gabite, and we are receiving a lot of damage from their Frostlass, so we have to evolve into our Garchomp right away. We did find Cynthia's Power Weight giving us more HP, and I'll have to set up another Gibble here. Evolve into our Cynthia's Garchomp EX, use Iono. We can replace their Stadium. And I guess I can attach... Let's use Pokegear first. Okay, we got an Iono. I'll attach another energy. We can deal 290 damage if we need to. But I'm just going to use Corkscrew Dive to draw into more cards. At this point, we can at least 2-hit knock out their Garchomp EX. And if they attack us, we can accumulate more damage. And then we'll just retaliate with Cynthia's Spiritomb. They have Artisan, so we can actually use that to our advantage. Again, Garchomp EX has 0 retreat cost, so we can easily retreat it. We just need an energy to power up our Spiritomb. And again, you can use that 1 to 2 price trade to your advantage. If we can knock out a 2-prizer while they only take 1, if they knock out Spiritomb, that's gonna take you a long way. Okay, they're going to use Professor's Research. So in this deck, they're also using Marnie's Morpeko. A very unlikely attacker, but it is a single price attacker. Given enough energies though, it can deal a lot of damage. So 20 damage multiplier for each energy attached to that Pokemon. So they have Munkidori all set up, and it's just a matter of time. Our Roast Raid is going to get knocked out. So 180, and here it is. Freezing Shroud knocks out our Roast Raid, and that's gonna get our opponent another prize. Alright, well, ooh, we got unfair oh man. We can't use it because our Pokemon was knocked out during Pokemon Checkup, not during our opponent's turn. Okay, well, we can use Cynthia's Power Weight to add more HP to our Gibble. We can use Artisan to get Spiritomb. And I'm just gonna use Iono. Okay, we missed the energy, which is not good. We can set up 2 more Spiritombs. Replace the Stadium. I mean, I can attack and hope for the best. I'm just gonna use Draconic Buster. Just finish off this Grimmsnarl. Get 2 prizes. So, I mean, we still have 150 HP. If they can evolve into another Grimmsnarl, then we're pretty much done for. But if they can't, we should be able to survive another turn, and then we can start using our Spiritomb. Hopefully, with Iono, we can draw into an energy. Okay, my opponent's gonna use Monkey Dory to transfer 3 damage counters to Roselia. They managed to set up another Spikemuth Gym for another Impidimp. They're gonna retreat. Do they have rare candy? Oh, TM Devo. They're gonna use Iono. Okay, yeah, if they devolve us, we're not gonna survive. 250 is a lot of damage. Alright, they're gonna devolve. Gabite gets knocked out, but my opponent only gets 1 prize for that though, so that's good. And since we have rare candy because of their Iono, I'm okay with that. And we have Night Stretcher, that's insane. The heart of the cards, guys. That's crazy. Alright, cool. So, we have Rare Candy. Let's re-evolve into Garchomp EX. We have Night Stretcher to get an energy. Attach this, and then I can use... I'll just thin out my hand so we can draw into more cards. And... I'll save the power weight. Corkscrew Dive to knock out their Impidimp, getting us another prize. And we draw into more cards. Again, PTCG Live just does it automatically, but again, it should be optional if you want to draw into more cards. Alright, so we have a pretty good setup here. If my opponent attacks my Garchomp EX, we can just build up damage and then attack with Spiritomb. And we have boss orders, so I could just pick off their attacker. Probably we can boss orders their Impidimp. Now they evolve into Morgrem. Unless they set up another Impidimp, we can just target that because that's their main attacker. And we should be able to prevent them from attacking once we take out their Morgrem. So they're going to counter Catcher our Spiritomb, hoping to trap us in the active. They're going to use Super Rod to recover another Grimmsnarl EX along with Blood Moon Ursaluna EX as a secret attacker. And they're going to fill their bench with another Monkey Dory. So no backup attacker. They can get another prize here. That's fine. So they risked it by filling up their bench instead of another backup Grimmsnarl. And that's alright. All the while, their Monkey Dory is receiving damage. Although, they could just transfer the damage to our Spiritomb. Let's go ahead and just target this Morgrem. Use our energy to retreat Spiritomb, and we're just gonna let's see. I could just knock out, I could just increase the HP of Spiritomb so that all we have to worry about is just one of our Spiritombs being knocked out if they do that. But we can take another knockout against their Morgrem to get one more prize. So if anything, despite the accumulated damage counters from their Monkey Dory, they can knock out one of our Spiritombs, but they have a lot more HP to go through between all of our Spiritombs and our Garchomp EX, thanks to Cynthia's power weight. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, I think, because if we put in Gabite, we're gonna get another liability in play. But I don't know if my opponent can recover here. All we need is just one more prize. All of their attackers or all of their Pokemon are just one prizer. So, and they're just gonna pass. Okay. Well, we just need one more prize. All I have to do is just attach an energy to Spiritomb, retreat, and we're just gonna finish off their Pokemon. And my opponent concedes. Alright, good game. Alright, moving on now to our fourth and final match. I had to mulligan twice, but now we'll be starting with Cynthia's Roselia in the active spot. And I will be going first in this matchup. Okay, they have Fezandipiti and Monkey Dory. Interesting. We got Spiritomb, might as well put that into play. We have Buddy Buddy Poffin. Set up 2 Gibbles. We can play our Team Rocket's Watchtower just in case my opponent has any colorless Pokemon with abilities. And I think I'm just going to retreat this Roselia and promote Gibble in the active spot. And I'm just going to pass. So this Fezandipiti, I've actually showcased in my channel. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It has a very annoying ability. If there's a dark energy attached to Fezandipiti, if it is attacked and damaged, they flip a coin. If it's heads, you prevent damage done to Fezandipiti. And it also has a very powerful attack. Depending on how many psychic energies, I think, is attached to it, it can deal so much damage. But my opponent's gonna set up Badoo and 2 Ralts. And it looks like they're just gonna use Itchy Pollen to item lock us. Alright, let's go ahead and use their Artisan first. Do we have 2 Roserades? Yes, we do. So I'll set up another Roselia. And then we can attach an energy to our Gibble, use Iono. Maybe we can find our Gabite. We did not. But thankfully, we got TM Evolution. So we can most definitely use that. And then I'm just going to use Evolution to evolve my Roselia into Cynthia's Roserade and Gibble into Cynthia's Gabite. So now next turn, we'll have access to our Champion's Call ability. We can search out our deck for more Pokemon to evolve our Gabite and possibly another Roserade. For now, my opponent's going to get Fezandipiti EX. They use Turo to remove Fezandipiti and replace it with Monkey Dory using Artisan. And they're just going to use the TM Evolution as well on Badoo. And they're going to evolve their Ralts into Curlias. Alright. So they have Gardevoir EX lineup in this build as well. Thankfully, we're not weak to Psychic, so this is a neutral matchup. So with the Pokegear, we found an Arven. Let me use Arven. And I need energy, so I'll get Earthen Vessel and Cynthia's Power Weight to add more HP to our Pokemon. Use Champion's Call. Evolve this. And then we can retreat it. This one we can evolve into our Cynthia's Garchomp EX. And then I'll just get another Roserade. So now our Cynthia's Pokemon's attacks will be increased by 60 damage, which is pretty nice. So we can increase our HP to both Garchomp EX and Gabite. We'll get energies with the Earthen Vessel, and now we can attack. So we can get a knockout against this Badoo, and we can also draw until we have 6 cards in our hand. So we got our first prize, we got a rare candy. So at 400 HP, there's no way my opponent can knock out our Garchomp EX. They're gonna evolve into Gardevoir EX. And even if they have Drifloon in this build, there's no way they can build up enough damage to deal 400 damage. And speaking of, they have Drifloon. They're gonna use Iono. Okay, at least we have Pokegear. That's gonna help us get another supporter card, hopefully. And my opponent's gonna use Secret Box as their ace spec. By discarding 3 cards from their hand, they can search their deck for 4 cards, a Stadium, a Tool card, a supporter card, and an item card. And there it is. So with Earthen Vessel, they can find more energies. They're gonna go for Dark Energies. So they can transfer damage counters with Monkey Dory. And it's a good combo because each time Gardevoir EX uses its ability to accelerate psychic energies, it deals damage to their Pokemon. So they can transfer those damage with Monkey Dory. Here comes Drifloon. I saw them get Bravery Charm, so they can actually add more HP to this Drifloon. Now they're going to use Monkey Dory. They're going to put 3 damage counters to our Spiritomb. And they're going to use Balloon Blast to deal 120 damage. So they're looking to possibly knock out our Garchomp EX. And we got an energy thanks to our Night Stretcher. And I'm just going to retreat. Use my single price attacker to just knock out this Drifloon. Get another prize. And then we can evolve into another Garchomp EX. Ooh, we got a Iono from Pokegear. Look at that. Let's go ahead and use this. That will also reduce our opponent's hand. And we're just gonna Raging Curse, dealing 200 damage to knock out their Drifloon, getting us another prize. And I like the balance of this Garchomp EX combo. Thanks to Spiritomb, we have a single price attacker with no ability, and also Garchomp EX with high HP that can deal a lot of damage. It can draw cards, and I mean, this build is such a straightforward. It has such a straightforward strategy, but as long as you can master the balance between using your single price attacker and your 2-prizer, you can actually win a lot of matchups against using this Garchomp EX. But the only weakness that we actually have is against any grass type matchups. So my opponent's gonna evolve into another Gardevoir EX. You're gonna use Super Rod to recover some of their Pokemon. And the thing with Spiritomb is that it's not hitting for weakness. Although Gardevoir EX is weak against Dark, Spiritomb's not gonna hit for weakness. They're gonna use Counter Catcher though. They're only hitting for 190 with this Gardevoir EX, so we're still gonna survive an attack. And they're gonna continue to put damage to Spiritomb, and they're gonna knock it out. Alright. They're gonna knock it out. Okay, they're gonna use Earthen Vessel to get more energies. Artisan to set up Pheasantipity. Okay. And they're gonna attack with their Gardevoir EX, dealing 190. So we now have a total of 310 damage. As long as we have energy, we can actually deal a knockout using Spiritomb. Ooh, we don't have any more Earthen Vessel though. But we can add more HP using Cynthia's Power Weight. I'm just gonna add more HP to our other Pokemon. That way they can't trickle away at transferring damage counters and getting prizes that way. So we're just gonna leave it at that, but we don't have any energies. Let's put... Actually, I might just have to attack here, but I'll be sacrificing this Garchomp. I'm just gonna end my turn, I think. Because I don't want to give my opponent an opportunity to add more damage to our other Garchomp. Although I could have just retreated, actually, while we search for more cards from our deck. But they're just gonna finish off our Garchomp. Okay. Alright, well, let's go ahead and promote our other Garchomp. There's the Fighting Energy, finally. Since we don't have any damage built up, we can't attack with Spiritomb, so we're just gonna leave it at that. But we can use Counter Catcher, and I'm just gonna finish off their Pheasantipede here, guys. We are heading for weakness, so Corkscrew Dive deals 320 damage, getting us 2 more prizes. And we drew into more cards in our hand. So we have Earthen Vessel. We can search for more energies if we need it. If they try and attack our Garchomp EX, that will build damage, and then we can just keep attacking with Spiritomb. So we already have one in our bench, and we also have a backup in our hand. So is there any way that my opponent can deal a lot of damage where they can knock out our Garchomp EX? Either way, they can possibly boss our Spiritomb or maybe one of our Rosalias or Roseraids. Ooh, they're gonna use Iono. Okay. Hey, we still got an energy. I'm okay with that. It looks like they're just gonna attack. No, they're gonna retreat into Pheasantipede. Okay, this is gonna be very annoying. They can attach 5 energies, 5 psychic energies. So, ooh, okay. You're gonna add Bravery Charm, so they have potential to add more energies to it. But they're gonna use Monkey Dory to transfer damage, and they're dealing 90 damage right now. Okay, we might be within their knockout range, so we have to really be careful here. I'm just hoping that they don't have the attack damage output to get a knockout. I'll just attach the energy. At 160 though, yeah, let's just go ahead and use Corkscrew Dive. We got tail, they got tail, so we're dealing 160 damage. If they got heads, we would not have been able to deal damage to their Pheasantipede. So thankfully, we were able to deal damage. They're gonna use Iono again. That's gonna disrupt our hand. Okay, we got boss's orders. Okay, we just need 2 more prizes. If they deal more damage to our Garchomp EX, I'm okay with that. But they're gonna use Counter Catcher, and they're gonna target our Roserade. And slowly but surely, they're gonna transfer damage to the active. Okay, they're gonna add 3 to our Garchomp, and they're gonna take a knockout against our Roserade. All right. Well, this is getting annoying. As long as we can damage this guy, we should be fine. Yes. All right, they got tails, so we will finish off this Pheasantipede. And that's gonna get us 1 more prize. So we have our boss's orders reserved in our hand. We could just pick off one of their Monkey Dories, and we could just win this game. But they have Drifloon. If they can add enough damage to their Drifloon, they can possibly knock out our Garchomp EX. Especially they can transfer damage with Monkey Dory. So, if they do that, we have 250 HP. As long as they don't have any way to add HP to this Drifloon, it's only gonna hit for 180, so we should be able to survive an attack. As long as it doesn't get to 250, we should be fine. Right? As long as they don't have extra HP, we should be able to survive this attack. But if they knock out our Garchomp EX, they're gonna win this game. Okay, they're gonna use Monkey Dory, but they're reducing the damage from Drifloon. That's gonna decrease the attack. Okay. Alright, my opponent concedes. And that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel, and until next time, please stay safe and have a great day.